Hey, what's up everybody? It's Brandon.
And Dawn.
And we just got back from the Homestead Festival in Franklin, Tennessee at Rory Feek's farm, and that place is phenomenal. It was our first year going. It's only the second year they had it. Annual event that we typically go to was cancel / postpone, so we're more than likely not going this year for the first time in quite a while, not counting COVID year. But just got back. It's just a 2-day event, Friday and Saturday. We went over for us on Thursday, got up Friday, went to the event Saturday, drove back this morning, which as of filming is Sunday, and it was a 12-hour round trip. So first and foremost, was that type of travel worth it?
Yeah, I had fun. Plus I got to go to Black Rifle Coffee on the way, and that was wonderful.
Yeah, so I don't know that she realized Black Rifle Coffee, which is her favorite, that she drinks every single morning. If y'all want to, if you stumble upon this, if y'all want to sponsor us to save me lots of money, we will appreciate that. But yeah, so on the way over, I'd found that they have some locations, brick and mortars, that you can go and actually get coffee. I luckily got out of there before she realized that they had a 3-for-1 deal.
No, it was buy 3 get 1 free.
Yeah, that. So luckily we got out of there with minimal damage to the bank account. But for the actual event, and we did, we broke up the trip pretty well on the ride there. We stopped a few places, had lunch, then stopped at Sevierville for Black Rifle, and then came on in for dinner. We went to Edley's Barbecue, which is pretty daggone good. But for the festival, was the trip and everything worth it?
Absolutely. It was fun. Learned lots of things. Got to see cool new people.
I agree. I had a great time. It was, like I said, different in the setup of how it was. It seemed a lot closer, how they had everything more together.
Oh, in all
just
in
layout
one.
of the events. Yeah, it was, so you had tents that were, your class areas, if you would, and they were a lot closer than the event we usually go to. I had a great time. Everybody we spoke to actually ended up meeting some people from Indiana. They were staying in the same hotel that we were staying in, and that's actually how we started talking with them, became friends. We kept hitting each other in the elevator, and then actually did see them at the event. So that was really cool. What was your favorite? Oh, let me say this. I think both of our favorites is the same, so minus the absolute favorite. What was your next favorite?
I don't know. I don't know.
Which class was your favorite?
Other than Jess, I really like Jill's class.
So Jill, who ironically, I believe, purchased Jess of Roots and Refuge, I guess Jess and Maya's former property in Arkansas, she did a class on
maximizing a small space.
That, and it was actually really good when it was against it. It was more, heirlooms versus hybrids, and how they have been genetically fused for those major properties. What about Anne? Was that her name?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember her last name.
Don't remember her last name. I know she has two last names. She is an hour from Columbia, which is actually where the event was, not Franklin. We stayed in Franklin. The event was in Columbia, Tennessee. And if you notice, we're looking around, we're doing one of our favorite pastimes as we're relaxing, getting back here. Worked on the cookhouse, aka the barbecue barn, a little bit, and now we are having a beer, and we let our chickens out and let them roll around, so we'll show them off here in just a minute. Some of them are actually roosting, one is brooding, so the flock looks pretty thin right now. But yeah, and we'll get our information, put it probably on the screen somewhere around here or in the the description. She did a few classes. Really, I loved all of them that we did. We did 2 of hers, 2 at Azure Farms, and then we did Jill, the permaculture.
Ooh, yes. No, it wasn't permaculture, it was perennials.
Perennials. I keep wanting to say permaculture with hers. Jess, we're missing one.
There was one that we started to go to and then just left because it was hot and we couldn't find a space.
Yeah. So all the ones that we actually went to and stayed for were great. Anne's was phenomenal. It was more on, she did one on growing your farmstead, homestead business, how to maximize finances with it. That was really cool. Her first one,
Old World Food Preservation.
Yeah, Old World Food Preservation, which was really funny because one of them she had mentioned curing meats, to which I went, because once the barbecue barn is finished, we'll be able to cure some meats in one of those back rooms that'll turn into the traditional smokehouse. So that was cool, with her mentioning that. Then Azure Farms, they had a few that were really neat. It was the 5 ways. It
was the 3 things, 3 good habits of a farmsteader.
That was the second one. The first one was why you need to grow more food for the next 12 months.
Yes.
And it was, kind of similar with how nutrition in all the foods is going down, and then obviously the food issue, inflation, all that type of stuff. That was really neat. The perennial guys were talking about building more of a perennial garden, so they're able to grow roots, they're able to grow stronger, will replenish the ground, the nutrients and everything back in the soil a lot better, versus just your annuals that you'll eat normally, but more of the
trees and fruits,
berries and stuff like that. So that was really, really neat. Then I guess to our absolute favorite, I didn't even have to ask, so it was definitely Jess, and accompanied by Maya with Roots and Refuge. They were, I don't believe that there's any chance that you're finding this video and haven't found hers, but if for any reason you haven't, check her out, Roots and Refuge Farm. She is now in South Carolina, which we are. We're going to have to get those kids a Gamecock shirt instead of that Clemson shirt that I see pop up on her channel from time to time. It's okay, she's an implant, we'll teach her. But one of our favorite channels to follow and watch, Saturday mornings, she'll get a coffee, we'll sit down with her in the living room, watch a few of our favorite channels. Hers is definitely one of the favorites. But she was really talking about, that one was the perennials with relationships.
Permaculture.
Yeah, she said permaculture too. Something's going to be perennials, except for the actual perennial class. But hers was really good, and it was more so teaching your relationship with everything and how you should, take responsibility for your part of planting or your part with your relationship with your spouse. And it was really, really funny, or it was really, really good, and then really funny how they played off of each other. They would kind of make jokes with each other going through, so it was really fun and also informative. And a few moments, there were a few tears shed in the tent. That was pretty neat. And then it is definitely, in all the festivals we've ever been to, events we've ever gone to, the only time I've ever seen a standing ovation for a speaker. So that was really neat to see. Yeah, all of the events we did, all the classes were really, really, really good. The one we stepped out on, it was brutally hot this weekend. Upper 80s, low 90s both days. So pretty warm. And it wasn't so much of the temperature. There was very few clouds in the sky, and just had a fire ant on me, so hold on. Okay. Very few clouds in the skies. Every now and then you'd get a little break. Very stagnant air, not a lot of wind flow. Whenever it would blow, it would feel really, really good. So it was just kind of one of those typical southern days where you just sit there and melt. So we did have to escape one time, which leads us to another. We were debating if we were going to mention this or not, because we don't want to tell too many secrets in case we go back and we don't want too many people to get it. But so they did have multiple levels that you could get: general admission, GA plus, or VIP. We got one hitting a pole over here, and she's a nut. We did the GA plus. And all their tickets are, buy one get one free. So
at least when we bought them,
yeah,
that was the deal.
Well, and I think every time we looked, that's what it was. But yeah, when we got them, it was buy one get one free. So we did the GA plus. With that, you got access to a tent with some air blowing in it, so it was really nice for this one. And then you had access to the upgraded bathrooms, which it's those not a porta potty, but the ones on a trailer where they can take to events. And it's more like a camper bathroom, if you've ever been in a camper. Was it worth the money?
Absolutely. No question.
I didn't really have to ask for permission for that upgrade. When I saw that it was upgrading the bathrooms, I knew where that was going to go.
Plus, it was nice to have somewhere in the air conditioning to sit when we went and got lunch.
Yeah, and they had the classes separated by about 30 minutes. There were a few that you would want to try to sneak away and try to get into the next tent earlier, so you can get a good spot for it. Cersei, it's okay. Hey, Cersei, you want to talk to everybody? I'm sure y'all heard that. If you didn't, you'll hear. She's coming closer. She's going to get louder. She's coming back. She's coming back. Get the eggs out. So that was the brooder. Let's see if we can. Everybody is staring. So the black one is Arya, white is Cersei, and white and brown is Dany, aka Daenerys. But it's Bella. I'm sure you can guess where most of these names are from.
All of them.
So she named them from book characters. But anyway, so we had, unless you were trying to sneak out and get to the next tent earlier, we would go in there and just get a little bit of a break from the heat, or use the much nicer restrooms and porta potties. Would you upgrade to VIP?
I don't remember what all is included, but from what I could see, no, not really. It wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah, so it looks like the first 2 rows were delegated to VIP. I think for the most part they weren't too strict on if people moved up to those. I think if there were some VIPs that came in, they would move people around, but for the most part it wasn't enforced too strictly, which I understand. As an event host, you don't want a bunch of empty seats up there. As a patron, I don't know that I want to pay extra for VIP tickets and then anybody gets to roll into those seats. But the other advantage was the was it the music hall or whatever the building was called that they had access to. It was their private tent.
So we don't know how much fancier that was.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we didn't get into it, obviously. And then they had restrooms and everything in there. But my negative on their area is it was at the end of the event, where the GA Plus tent was in the middle. So if you were at either one of the any of the tents and you're like, oh, I drank way too much water, which was not a problem because everybody was dehydrated pretty much, but if you did and you're like, I've got to go to the bathroom, the GA tent was half as far easily than where the VIP one was. And I did realize that when we were waiting in line for food one day. I was like, oh, that's the VIP spot. I gotta walk the entire length of this whole place. And it was a pretty big setup. It was probably football field and a half.
I have absolutely no judgment on distance, so sure.
She did have her Fitbit on, and each day we walked
3.8 miles one day and 3.6 miles the next.
3.8 and 3.6. Die. Hey girls, y'all want an ant? They don't speak English, so it's hard. So yeah, it was a pretty big area and a ton of vendors. All the vendors that we met were super nice, really cool thing. That's the other thing with all the vendors, all the volunteers, all the speakers, every single person involved that we interacted with were awesome. There wasn't a single attitude from anybody. You know, multiple people, hey, do you need help with anything? Or how are y'all doing? If you walked out, did y'all have a great time? Hope to see you again tomorrow. Like, everybody there, and there's usually an event you go to, somebody's in a mood.
Even being hot and miserable, everybody was nice.
Yeah, and I'd walked back out of the truck one time, and there were two girls out there helping cars and everything. And you could see that they were melting, and they were just like, hey, hope you're having a great time. So it was, everybody involved with this event was super nice, super awesome. So yeah, and we're out of order, but since everything else, would you go back? Are we going back?
Of course.
Yeah, we'll definitely be going back next year. Really, it's probably whether, or I don't even think it's whether or not they put our usual event back on. We're probably going to shift to this one anyway, because it was really that fun. And it's
they're completely different. We could do both.
Yeah.
They're like 2 months apart.
Apparently we're doing both.
It's a learning experience.
Apparently we're doing both. Okay. So, another thing. Another bonus with the event that she actually pointed out is the cost of things. So I will let you actually hit on that.
The most events you go to, whether it's a concert or anything like that, especially something where it's outside and 90 degrees, they are still charging you for water as though you're at a concert. But they had a water booth set up, sponsored of course by the event, and water was $1. So everybody stayed hydrated instead of spending all of your money on $4 water bottles.
Yeah, that was, and I don't even know we've been to a lot of concerts outside, and it's easy to say water bottle $2. And you know they're making hand over fist money on all that, but to call it $1. And the other really cool thing with it being in Tennessee is their state does not have any sales tax. So when you go to make purchases, water, it's $1. You hand them $1. You don't have to give them $2 and get 97 cents of change or all these coins and stuff. You hand them $1, you're done with it. If it's $10, you hand them 10, you're done with it. So that makes going to an event like that really easy to get through and all. But yeah, one thing that she'd point out while we were there, she was like, holy crap, water's only $1. So it was really, really cool. If you could change or improve anything with the festival itself, what would it be?
Better selection of food trucks. We go to places with food trucks all the time, and that's nothing to say that food truck food isn't good. Just the food truck food that we got, at least, was not fantastic.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much the food wasn't good. We did have one experience with one of the trucks. I'm definitely not going to say any names or anything, because you don't always know the situation of what went on. They actually ran out of food because while we were in line, because we did see one guy leave and apparently had time to come back before we came through. But we waited in line literally an hour and a half. Luckily, that was the first day, and it was the second class that we were doing that day, that we had snuck out early and said, hey, let's just go ahead and go get in line. So we got in line at 11:30, got our food at 1 o'clock. So that was kind of the bad thing. They had 8 to 10 food trucks, and I don't have no clue what the actual total of people were that came. So there was a number of vendors there. This one, we got in line, we're like, hey, it's got a long line, it must be pretty good. We did the whole, follow the lead thing, which we had just had barbecue the day before, didn't want that. There was a couple of Cajun places. As hot as it was, we didn't really want spice. They had an Asian place, and it was, hey, we got spice. We didn't really want anything spicy. We didn't want barbecue since we just had it. So we had that. The one thing that I would change or improve, yeah, so the tent size, or not really tent size, that's just really kind of the only thing. And this is first world problems. If you're wanting to be Homestead, you're okay with sitting out in the sun. But yeah, it's just perfection, if you would. Like, you'll survive. Take an umbrella. There was a lot of that. A lot of people had umbrellas or the chairs with the tents and stuff. So you can survive it either way. We're just saying it if there was. So do's and don'ts. For people wanting to go, what are their absolute do's?
Take a fan.
Yeah. Piggybacking off of that one, any kind of rechargeable battery, any kind of fan, they have those that you hang around your necks and stuff. We will definitely be taking one of those. We went completely unprepared this year. Like, we have a fan, or Rhett has a fan for his stroller. We have that. We have the cold rags that you can put down in the water, wrap around. Bring those. We did not. Like I said, umbrellas. I thought about taking chairs just in case. I did not. And it wouldn't hurt to have those either in your car. We saw a couple people with the little pull behind wagons, fan, hats.
Reapply your sunscreen so you don't get a sunburn like me.
Yep. Yeah, there was a lot of that, which I don't wear sunscreen, so I don't have that problem. Yeah, also do wear proper clothing attire. There were a lot, and it's up to you. There were people from, everything from some girls wearing their Daisy Dukes with some little shoes, or some people were dressed head to toe in Carhartt. There were some people that I felt really sorry for. I know they had to be melting, but you know your body and what you can wear. Also, it depends on the weather, so do make sure you check the weather beforehand. One thing that I would recommend against is flip-flops, open-toe sandals. I know there's some sandals that are a little bit more coverage. We did see a person or two. So the food area is in a gravel lot. It's kind of packed really well, but there's some loose gravel on top. And I think a few people caught some toenails on some rocks. So, you know,
I watched the first aid tent while we were waiting in our hour-and-a-half line
yeah,
for food.
Yeah, we saw a few coming in there, and then of course a couple people kicked some rocks and caught a toad too there. You know, if you don't step on a rock, it ain't gonna matter to you, but if you do, you won't. What about any don'ts for people that are thinking about going?
Don't hurt yourself before, so you have to hobble around in a walking boot the whole time.
So someone has an injured foot. She does not know how she injured her foot. Her husband told her to go to the doctor a week before she decided to. She finally went to the doctor and they told her to wear a walking boot that came in the day before we left. So Bella is still not happy about not being able to sit on eggs. She's throwing a fit. So we just had to change the battery out, and in between that she had kicked Caroline out that had just laid. I guess she didn't kick Caroline out. Caroline finished and she had walked out, and then Bella was apparently waiting and ready to sit on the eggs. And I got her out, but she's not happy right now. Yeah, so don't injure yourself if you do go to the doctor when your foot is swollen twice the size that it should be.
Exaggeration.
And do we want to put it on camera?
It's not that swollen, hush.
It's not that swollen anymore because she wore a boot for 2 days. So don't get injured beforehand. The one that I had is don't wait till the last second to try to get there. I'm sure if anybody with the festival watches this, they're shaking their head right now. The classes, at least for this year, classes started at 9 o'clock. Opening comments were at 8:30. If you're not parked by 8 o'clock, you're probably not making it in before those opening remarks. The first day we had gotten there a little after 8 because we were wanting to go in for the opening statement and everything. And this is in a rural area. It's not Disneyland or Carowinds or anywhere like that. It's not a place with a 4-lane highway that's designed for this event. It is a home farm that he has graciously opened up to put on a festival to help others. It's a technically 2-lane road. It is a 2-car wide but no lines lane road. So it's tight. There's only really one way to get in. So if you and everybody and their mama's trying to get in at the same time, it's going to be slow going. So just know, don't wait to the last second. If you do go to the bathroom before you leave.
Actually, everything was really smooth.
Yeah. It wasn't it was bumper to bumper. You weren't sitting still. You were constantly moving, but you were just constantly moving at 5 miles an hour. That was the thing. So now Cersei's getting in trouble because she likes to wait till somebody finds something and then go steals it from them. What is... Oh, that was a leaf.
She's kind of a jerk.
Yeah. So this is what we do after a day of working and everything. We'll grab our seats and maybe a beer and sit out with our chickens and let them roam around for about an hour or so before we put them back in and go eat dinner. So that's what we're going to do. We will definitely be going back next year. We had a blast. Thanks to everybody that helped put it on. Thanks to all the speakers. Thanks to everybody we spoke to. Thanks to the people that stood in line with us for an hour and a half and grumbled about the wait. But we are going to go make some supper. And again, we will be there next year. Of the 3 people that will watch this, we hope to meet y'all next year. I don't know. Who cares? See y'all later.
Bye.